Good afternoon and welcome to the Federal Executive Forum celebrating 17 years of profiling excellence in government IT mission programs. I'm Luke McCormack. During today's show, we will discuss best practices with IT modernization programs and strategies in the federal government. With me on today's show are Gardy Rosias, Acting Deputy Chief Information Officer, Architecture, Engineering, Technology, and Innovation, Department of Energy; Melanie Cannon, Director of Systems Integration Office, Department of State; Nicole Willis, Chief Technology Officer, Health and Human Services, Office of Inspector General; Rob Carey, President, Cloudera Government Solutions Incorporated; Nick Nylon, Director, Federal Civilian, Verizon; and Scott Crowder, Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer at BMC Software. Well, we're talking about IT modernization. I know that Department of Energy was very instrumental in this recent playbook that came out. Gardy, what's happening at Department of Energy?
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be part of this conversation. And thank you for the invitation. Well, at the Department of Energy, we've been very busy. As you know, those of us who are technologists in the federal space, we have to balance the interwoven priorities between delivering reliable IT services. Cybersecurity is a big one. I'm sure Nicole will be talking about that, as well as driving digital innovation and digital transformation. So we've been seeing a couple of good things from my perspective, from all the way from the top. If you're looking at what Congress has been doing over the past couple of years, just putting out legislations and sort of staying engaged with the process, because I think they realize that we have to do that. and where they're falling short, I think you could see the leadership at the top of the agencies are really stepping up. I can speak for our organization. We, as you said, we put out the IT scaling IT modernization playbook. Out of a recognition that we have to do a little bit more to help us to kind of get through all the modernization efforts that are going on. And we're trying to lean more on the agile development, agile mindset, if you will, because one thing that I keep pushing is we have to start recognizing incremental progress as real progress. Oftentimes we're like, well, if we can only do this little bit, it's not, let's focus on something else that we can tackle. And I think it's a great way of sort of transitioning in that area. And also just kind of be mindful of some of these processes such as DevSecOps that will help us to do some of these things. Just to mention two quick examples real quick. Some of you may be familiar with the Data Center Optimization Initiative, where DOE is a leader in the implementation of that initiative. We've closed some 56 data centers and deploying tools on top of the remaining data centers so that we can make sure that we have modern data centers for the data centers that we're still maintaining. We're looking at data and AI. We have a little project that we started, again, talking about incremental progress being real progress. We wanted to address a small little problem, and it was so successful. Now we started branching out, sort of looking at different ways that we can apply, some of these emerging technologies to help the department. And we're talking to our colleagues across the department to see how we can help them also and kind of share lessons learned and share technical practices and so on and so forth. So again, we've been very busy, and so that's all I'll say for now, and looking forward to the rest of the conversation.
Gardy, thank you very much. And again, nice work on that playbook. I think that's going to get a lot of traction, a lot of mileage, and good timing on that. Melanie, I know there is a tremendous amount of activity, modernization activity going on across state and in a lot of different areas. Give us a top line state of the state at state, so to speak.
State of the state at state. Just like my colleague over in DOE, we have been very, very busy also in various realms, but listening to him just speak some of the same areas. He talked about DCOR, the data center optimization, and we know that data center and cloud optimization initiative, and we know that that is sunsetting. And I won't say that I'm happy to see that go, but I would be happy to see what comes next after that, because there were challenges in that area. for agencies, depending on the size and the scope of the work and things of that nature. So we were not as successful with I would say closing 23 data centers, but we put our stake in the ground, and we made great strides in that area as well. So I'm happy to hear my colleagues speak on that this morning. Other things that have been happening here in state, most recently, we've been doing a huge push towards the cloud, right? Things that can go in the cloud, and everything that can go in the cloud should go in the cloud. Everything should go in the cloud, but can't go in the cloud. So you have those conversations in the corridor. Some of us are still in the office. Some of us never went home due to COVID. We're still here. So we have those conversations about the cloud. One of the most recent success for us is that we recently stood up a classified environment, a cloud classified environment. So that's one of the many modernized efforts that we've done here at state. There's been a huge push towards before COVID, we were moving towards expanding Wi-Fi throughout our federal facilities. Very important, because what do? Everyone is walking around with mobile devices and things of that nature, right? But if there's no connectivity, how are you operating? So that was our Wi-Fi instantiation was another huge push for the Department of State. And on the data center realm, rolling back to that, we also transitioned our hosting platform to a hyper converged infrastructure. So that was a great thing. It also went towards some credits with the DCCOI, the Data Center Cloud and Optimization Initiative. It also gave us credit in that platform as well. So there's just a lot of things going on. We're trying to align not only to what we are called to do by our mission, but also what our partners here at the Department of State are seeking from a better, I would say, more modernized. And I want to say this, I told someone yesterday, we're modernizing people as well. We are changing the face of how things work with individuals, people such as myself that has 30 plus years of federal service, and those that are just coming in the door maybe 5 or less years ago. Our mindsets have to modernize so that we can properly use the technologies that are being put out there. So we're modernizing people as well, not just the technology, with the people.
I love that, modernizing people. And I know you all are on quite a journey there with your multi-cloud strategy, et cetera. A lot of moving parts there that you're trying to snap together as you put that framework out there and enable those diplomats. Nicole, I know there's a lot of activity going on over at HHS, specifically in your area. Can you give us a top line as to what you have cooking over there at the IG?
Sure. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me on this panel.
And it's great to see you, by the way.
Thank you. At OIG, over the past few years, we, like others have mentioned, we've been migrating a lot of our older legacy applications to our cloud platforms. We've also been partnered closely with our Chief Data Officer's office, really building out new data and analytical applications on our cloud and software as a service platforms. Our shift now, we've been moving and migrating and have a lot of traction for our cloud platform, but now is the time that we're looking at optimizing it, really moving from having multiple clouds to having a real multi-cloud ecosystem, so that we have an ecosystem that will enable us to make decisions based on the best value to OIG, based on technical fit and cost. We are also implementing foundational projects around Zero Trust. We have several projects that we are currently working around identity management, implementing a secure access service edge, maturing our security operations, automated data mapping, and really improving our visibility and analytics across our assets to proactively manage and mitigate risks. And we are also working on building out AI, automation, and orchestration applications for some of our business, IT, and Zero Trust solutions.
A lot of interesting activity going on there. Obviously, Zero Trust being front and center. Rob, Nicole mentioned chief data officers. And I wanted you to give us a top line to state, a lot of these agencies now have chief data officers, and perhaps maybe you could share what your advice would be in developing a successful IT modernization roadmap.
Yeah, Luke, thanks. So it's interesting that they're popping up everywhere, which is good. Lots of chiefs.
Yep.
People have that chief
coming in,
title.
reporting in different areas of the
so,
agencies.
My advice right out of the chute would be to align with the CIO and the CISO, because the data is this pervasive. The chief data officer is responsible for managing this level of information that is used for decision making, right? Or system ingest, system, processing, things like that. And so in order to be successful, there is, in my mind, an overlap between the CISO and the CIO's responsibilities to make sure successful missions are delivered, right? Mm-hmm. So that alignment is absolutely crucial. I heard both Nicole and Gardy talk about AI, and Melanie talked about AI. And remember, AI is a tool that is very, very useful once models are developed that are repeatable and the information is able to be consumed and then pushed out the other side. And remember, leadership is interested in two things from the IT community. They are interested in, you're either saving them money or you're moving the mission downfield, right? They're the only two levers that anybody really cares about. So AI becomes that fundamental that pushes decision agility, right? So helping leaders make decisions. And so the CDO seems to be the guy that sort of owns the technologies that move that forward. So again, you have to play a role as a CDO to enable the mission of the organization to move forward. And at times, there's a lot of, I want to control something, well, the CIO controls that. Again, this alignment amongst the leadership team and the IT community has to be essential. Otherwise, once you're out of sync, you're not supporting the mission, right? So that'd be my 2 cents on advising.
Really appreciate that, Rob. Good insights. Nick, we look back at Verizon as absolutely part of the critical infrastructure. It's certainly not our parents' telecommunications entity anymore. You all are right smack in the fabric of transforming these various agencies. Give us a top line of what are you seeing there? What activity? What are these agencies now sort of got you in the middle of these days?
Yeah. Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and good afternoon, Luke. I think where Verizon finds itself now, as we have conversations around the data center optimization initiative, around zero trust, around data in general and where it's stored and how it's accessed, the thing that connects all this, the thing that allows all of this to happen is a network. And we can't rely on the networks that we had 20 years ago, 10 years ago. We need to think differently about the networks we build. And I think the interesting conversations we're having are ones where we're early into this conversation of, as I move from on-prem data centers or storage to the cloud or to multiple clouds, or to, I love the conversation on from multiple clouds to a multi-cloud system. That was a great quote. When we think about where data is stored, we have to think about the network that allows us to access that data reliably and dynamically. And so that's where Verizon really fits in, is in the conversation of how do you get the data to the right person or the right device at the right time to be able to make that decision, to be able to push that decision making downstream. And that's really the conversations we're having with customers now. And that's over multiple types of networks. That's over fiber, that's over wireless, over 5G, but it's all managed dynamically through software-defined networking and network function virtualization. And we're constantly shifting the strategies for agencies as they think about where that data now sits and how it's secured.
Yeah, it's every agency has sort of this multi-segment, multi-channel type of modernization activity going on, and very important to have these various different aspects. Scott, speaking about being in the fabric of these agencies to help them transform and modernize, tell us what you're seeing state of state, if you will, at BMC.
Well, we've got a lot of things going on, Luke. Really, we've had a SaaS first strategy for quite a few years now, and we're probably about 85 to 87% SaaS and public cloud. So that's, one of the ways that we modernize. But the other thing is just automation everywhere. So we really are striving to make automation self-service and really push that out to the various lines of business to get done what they need to do. Back to Melanie. Melanie, I'm with you on Zero Trust. We implemented that a couple of years ago, and it's absolutely critical. The security posture of our enterprises and our public agencies is paramount, and it's a top priority for us. And quite frankly, there's a ton of things going on. When Nick was talking, he talked a little bit about getting that data back for meaningful insights and really understanding what's happening within the fabric and infrastructure. But when you start thinking about all the things associated with IoT and really trying to pre-process and then aggregate and then send what's meaningful into the network, that's really the only way that you can actually get these insights without having just gobs of data in your data centers. So these are just a few of the things that we're working on. We have products now like Hedge, Helix Edge, that really does a lot with IoT, but also our monitoring platforms are highly scaled. And our BMC Helix Operations Manager is something that is part of that entire fabric that pulls everything together.
Key piece of technology to unlock some of this capability. Well, speaking of unlocking, Melanie, I'm going to give you an opportunity to give us maybe highlight a specific program. You top-lined a lot of different activity that's going on over there at State. Perhaps you can shine the light on one of them that's sort of unlocking some of this capability that we talk about as you modernize.
Certainly, Luke. I'll just roll back to our ClassNet cloud initiative that we undertook some time ago. The scenario went like this. Melanie, I need you and your team to develop a proof of concept. Okay.
And have it done by Monday.
I need to do it by Monday, and I don't have any money for you. You're going to have to use the resources you have. I have nothing else extra to give you. Okay, we can do that. All right, but understand, I can't go beyond the proof of concept because I need resources. Mm-hmm. The next conversation was, thank you, great proof of concept. Now I need you to get to working. So what do? We do what we do best. We perform and we deliver. And I am blessed to have a great team of not just technical brains, but just good people that work together under sometimes stressful situations. The effort was monumentous for us, here on the state side. Our team was able to take, and I want to say probably within less than, I'm going to say 2 years, and understanding the fabric of State Department, you would understand why I say that this was such a huge undertaking and also such a success. And it was probably about 14 to 18 months where we went from proof of concept and understand this was cloud. This was classified cloud. This wasn't just something that, you go and you click a box with one of our vendors and things of that nature. We worked with our partners, our GovCloud partners. We had to work with DISA. There are some other things that that were involved here. And because it's cloud, I'll just keep it high level here. But we were able to successfully deploy with ATO in approximately 14 to 18 months. And what it showed was, the resiliency of the team. We already talked about Agile and how that works in the fabric of doing things, how we're going to save the government money, and how we're going to move towards the goal of completing a mission. So I would say that one of the most recent, and I bring this one up, one, because it's in my wheelhouse, but two, we just recently did this a few months ago. So I think I would land it there. And sure. Getting that ATO within that time period, it was remarkable, to say the least. So
right, and a super important capability that enables a lot of these other things to happen. So we really do appreciate that. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network.